Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Slices of Success on this Tuesday, this amazing Tuesday in December, and Tuesday the 13th, 2016. And we've got a big day ahead of us. Today, my grandkids show up. This will be the first time that we've been able to have them all day since Ezekiel was born just a little over a month ago. And for the ones of you that are keeping tabs, Ezekiel has gained almost 2 pounds since he was born. We're so excited about that. Candy, thank you for being here this morning. And then tonight, I get to go to this concert. You might know about this. You might know who she is. A lady by the name of Stevie Nicks is going to be in town. And Nicole and Jessica, I get to go see her tonight. And I'm excited about that. Hey, Alyssa, I'm so glad you're here. And Christy. And so what I wanted to do is, as we get ready for this gift giving season, how can we position ourselves to be the gift or the present that we give to other people? How can we do that? Because for some of us that are here, some of us that are on the call right now, that are listening in, you're probably driving. Some of you are at the gym and you're on the treadmill and you're running in place and you're listening to us. And so the question is, Wanda, how can we arrange it to where we're the gift, to where we're the one that people are excited to be around, they're excited to see? And the reason I'm thinking about this, Felicia, is because for so many of us, some of the family members that we're going to see, they're sort of like thorns in our side. They're sort of troublesome to us, and we have some anxiety about seeing them. For some of us, we're grieving over the fact that one of our family members is not going to be with us because they are already in eternity. And so how do we position ourselves to be in a place to where we're a gift to them? Cindy, I'm so glad you're here. And Gigi, good morning. And listen, I want you all to know, and I don't mean this in offense to anybody, Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you. And my hope is that 2017 will be a PS kind of year. It'll be a PS kind of a year, a PS growth year, a personal growth year, and a spiritual growth year for you. It's my hope that throughout 2017 you will grow in both places of your lives, in your personal life and your spiritual life. And so if you've got a piece of paper, I would encourage you to grab it. We're going to be talking about 7 different things to be able to position ourselves to be a gift or a present to those around us. Let me just describe to you what I know about many of your family, friend, and your friends. Many of those people that you work with, you serve alongside of, and you are side by side with them all the time. You go to work with them. You work in a cubicle next to them. Maybe they work on the floor with you. Maybe they're an employee, a staff member of yours at Best Buy, or maybe you work at Walmart. Maybe you work in retail somewhere. You lead a restaurant. Maybe you're one of my favorite people on the planet. You're an LG, a lunch guy or a lunch girl. And what happens is you serve with people who are so depressed this season. They're frightened because of some recent changes this year. And Annette, I like that. I want a PS next year rather than a BS. And I think what we have to do is upgrade our BS. We have to upgrade our belief system to be able to have a PS year, because we want a personal and spiritual growth year. So some of those people that you sit side by side, some of those people that are in the cubicle next to you with the headset and they're answering questions and they're doing everything they do, they're lonely, they're depressed, and they need you and I to be next to them. They need us to be a gift or a present to them. And so how do we position ourselves to be that present? How do we do that? Is there a way to do that? I believe there is. So here's the steps. Here's the strategy, if you will. It's a 7-part strategy. It's pretty simple. And if you do not get this written down and you give me a little bit of time, Candy, I will get it written down and I will post it here on Facebook. I'll post it first of all at my website, and then it'll bounce to Facebook and you can download it in a PDF format. All right. Also, I would encourage you to go to my website, mattupton.net, and in the free resources column, download Choose Your Day and post it at your job, post it wherever you go to work, post it in the lunchroom, post it in the snack room, the break room, everywhere, and print it in color if you can. That way people can choose their day. You will know if they're having a moaning Monday, if they've chosen a moaning Monday, or they've chosen a magnificent Monday. And Jessica, I'm so excited about coming to your school district. So excited about it. Just a little over a month we'll be there. And so strategy number 1, when you're interacting with anybody, your friend, your family, maybe even your foe, you're having that interaction and something comes out of their mouth, something comes out of their face, out of their eyes, that demonstrates a little bit of attitude, because I know that none of us here this morning ever show a little bit of attitude. Right, Michelle? We never show a little bit of attitude with our face or our body language. Never. It's everybody else in the world that does that. Nobody that listens to this right out the can, right out the gate. So strategy number 1, Cindy, is this. Before you react, what I want you to do is pause and collect your thoughts, your words, and your feelings before you respond. Just pause for a second. Now, you don't need to pause for a long period of time. Just pause and collect your words based on your own personal commitment to serve, right? Collect your thoughts, collect your words and your emotions before you respond based on your commitment to serve. Now, I agree that there are times people just need to be talked to. Yet, if you're not in a position to talk to them, if you have no right, and rights only come by either it's legislated to you or it's been granted to you. You don't get rights that you've usurped or stolen in a coup. Just because you think you're smarter than somebody does not mean that you need to give them a what for. All right? So when they come off with attitude, when they come off in their eyes with attitude, in their words with attitude, or in their heart or their body language, their lip little turns up and you see it on their face, it does not mean that you get to just come off on them. Even if you're their leader, even if you're their supervisor, even if you're their parent, even if you're their sibling, you're their child, you do not have the right to tell them off. And so, Shar, what we need to learn how to do is just pause for a second and then recollect our thoughts, our words, and our feelings based on our heart to serve, our personal commitment to serve people. Remember, we're positioning ourselves to be a gift to other people. That's what we're doing. Because for some of us, we believe that we have the answer for people's lives. You do not get to give the answer, regardless of how you say it. When you give a gift and you give an answer in the midst of, as Annette said, some BS, and I'm not talking about your belief system. I'm talking about that stuff that stinks, all right? When you give an answer, when you come back at somebody and you've got BS, and I'm talking about that stuff that stinks all over this gift that you're trying to give to them, the only thing they remember, the only thing they know about is how much it stinks. And I'm suggesting that with these 7 strategies, our lives, our presence can be a gift, can be a present, if you will, to other people. So number 1, Before you respond, pause. Recollect your words, your attitude, and your feelings and your emotions, and then respond. Now, strategy number two, is reword what you would have said when you get kind of ticked off and you're ready just to come at them. You know what I'm talking about. You're ready to come at them. What I want you to do is, in the midst of your pause and you're collecting your words, you're collecting your emotions, you're collecting your heart, and you're repositioning yourself on serve, when you speak, reword what you were going to say based on their soul's language. Based on their soul's language. Now, what is their soul's language? Okay, their soul's language, everybody is either visual, auditory, or they're kinesthetic. They're touchy-feely kind of people. And so when we pause and we collect our words, and now it's time to speak, we speak in their language. We speak in their language. Let me give you a really fast way to know if they're visual primarily, auditory primarily, or kinesthetic. When you ask them questions and you're listening, did you catch that? You're listening, okay? And you watch their eyes. When they answer the questions, they don't exactly know the answers. All visual people will look up and to the right or up and to the left. All auditory people will look to the right at their ears or to the left. All kinesthetic people, all touchy-feely people will look down to the right or down to the left. That'll give you a clue on how to answer them. And then you answer them, the visual people answer them in visual terms. Auditory, answer them with just your words and your tones. Okay, they pay a lot of attention to your tones. And then the kinesthetics, answer them with feeling words. How do they feel about this? It's very important. Number one, pause. Number two, reword. Number three, engage them to enhance their lives, not protect your ego. If you're going to be a president, if I'm going to be a president to people, not only must I pause before I respond to them, okay, and reword what I'm going to say, I must engage them, Vicky, with an attitude to enhance their lives rather than protect my ego. So important that I do this. So important that I focus in on that, Colleen. It's because what happens is, if I'm not careful, I think I've got to protect my position. I've got to protect something that's going on in my life. I've got to protect my belief system. When I served, as many of you know, I served for 33 years as a pastor. And there were times that I got confused in whether or not I was protecting my belief system or the belief system of the congregation that I was leading, or my ego, or what. And sometimes I goofed up. Do you know that? Lots of times I goofed up. And listen, if I want somebody to embrace my belief system, I can't wrap it in BS. And where it starts stinking is when I'm protecting my ego. When I'm protecting my ego, I can't do that, right? Number one, pause. Number two, reword. Number three, engage them based on serving them to enhance their lives rather than protecting your ego. Number four, satisfy their need, their felt need, before you get to the greater need. This is so important. Satisfy their felt need. When they come to you and they're irritated, they're agitated, something's going on, then what we need to do is, whatever it is, wherever they're at, do our best to satisfy that felt need, whether I agree with it or not. Do my best to do that. That keeps me in the game. That keeps me present with them so I can be a present for them. And if I have a relationship with them, over time, maybe not today, maybe not in this moment, will I get to satisfy the real need, yet later on, I'll get to satisfy the real need. The probability is I'll get to satisfy the real need later on if I stay present with them on their felt need. Does that make sense? If it does, give me a thumbs up. Okay? Number 1, pause. Number 2, reword. Number 3, engage them based on that you want to enhance their lives through service rather than protect your ego. Number 4 is satisfy their felt need, what they think their need is, as best you can. Point them in the direction to have that met. And then eventually, maybe you'll have the opportunity to satisfy the real need. Number 5 is enlarge their view of themselves. When they're with you, let them see themselves through your eyes of love and service. Let them see themselves through your eyes. I see this just so often in our public school restaurants. I get to be in school restaurants on a regular basis, and it's amazing to watch LGs, lunch guys and lunch girls, serve students. And I watch them enlarge the student's vision of themselves through the very words, the very actions, emotions, and sometimes a pat on the shoulder, sometimes a little sly wink at a student. And what happens is that student gets a glimpse of themselves through the other person's eyes, and they get to see something that maybe they have forgotten, maybe they have missed. And I'm suggesting to you that if you're going to be a gift to other people, if you're going to be a present to other people, Jocelyn, what we need to do is enlarge their vision of themselves by allowing them to see themselves through the reflection of our attitude, our words, and our heart to them. See them as big people. See them as successful. And as you know, if you've been listening to Slices of Success, and if you spent any time with me, you know I learned that from my grandparents. My grandmother once told me that her and grandfather had decided to treat me as though I was what they believed I could be long before I was, even when I was acting totally opposite of what they believed I could be. Even when I was running amok, even when I was totally opposite of the person that you know right now, they still treated me as though I was what they believed I could be long before I was that. Even when I was acting in total opposite of that, they just treated me a certain way. They gave me a glimpse of me long before I came into an existence. You say, how did they do that? They just did it. They just did it. They had a heart for me that was big. And I've attempted to do that with my children. I haven't always done it, and I'm sure they could find some cases where I was not successful at that. Yet for the most part, that's what I always did. I just had a vision of where they should go, where my child should go, and so I did my best to treat them and train them and lead them in the way that I knew they could be. I'm doing that now with my grandchildren. Oh my goodness, sorry. What a pleasure to be a grandfather. I think you live this long and you do your best to be healthy and have a great attitude so that you so that you can be with your grandchildren and just be there for them. You have some people in your lives. Everybody that's listening, everybody that's on the call, you're listening. Everybody that's here and watching, everybody that will watch later on today, there's some people in your lives that you work with. You'll be sitting next to them in just a little while. You'll be putting on a fancy hairnet and some gloves next to somebody that has a less than honorable vision of themselves. Let them see themselves through your eyes because you care for them, because you love them, because you want to be their servant so that you can enlarge their own vision of themselves. Number six, when conflict arises, when conflict and disturbances arise, I want you to negotiate that incident, negotiate that conflict with your heart of serve rather than protecting your ego. Figure out how to remain a servant rather than protecting your ego. Listen, your ego sometimes will just edge grandeur out or edge God out and strand you with earthly grounded options. And you want greater ability to see beyond all of this. This particular incident, this particular crisis is not all of life. It's not everything, okay? It's not everything. It's just a moment. That's all it is. I remember one time, one of my coaches, one of my mentors, still in my life, I was given an answer, and he walked over and he put his long, bony piano fingers on my shoulder, and he said to me, he said, "Matt, you don't have to answer every single question in all that detail. You don't need to tell everybody everything." And I learned from that only a fool answers a matter before he knows it. And when you and I detect conflict with those friends, our family, and sometimes our foes, that we don't know the whole picture, we respond real fast. What happens, we're responding without knowing the whole picture, and sometimes it's just better to not answer at all. Here in my family, and some of you are familiar with my saying, when I'm in one of those situations that I don't really know or I don't want to get involved, lots of times what I'll do, good morning, Tiffany. Lots of times what I'll do is I'll just look up and I'll say, we're certainly having weather. We're certainly having weather. And that's their signal that I'm not getting involved in this. Because you see, I grew up in this house with not one, not two, but three ladies, amazing people. All of them have deep wisdom. All of them have amazing characteristics. And yet, sometimes they ride the emotional roller coaster. And when they're all three in the same house, oh my goodness, sometimes it takes them a minute, Brandy, to be able to get on the same page with each other, Teresa. And you know them. And so I would just say, we're certainly having weather, because sometimes you have to pause. Sometimes you have to reword. Sometimes you have to engage to enhance their lives and savor the moment. Sometimes you have to satisfy their felt needs, and then you have to enlarge their own personal vision of themselves by allowing them to see the incredible them through your eyes and through your words and through your heart for them. Robert, so glad you're here. And then negotiate conflicts based on your heart of serve rather than protecting your ego or what you think they got to do today. There's very few things we have to do today. Really, there isn't. And then last, number seven. This is a big one, and you might want to write this down. If you haven't written anything else, write this down. Trust what I call the second mile principle of possibilities. Listen to me. It's not in you just being there where the grand, the great, the grand picture comes into focus. It's not. Just being a parent is not enough. Just being a coworker or a boss or an employee is not enough. That's not where you get to see the fantastic. And if you want to experience in 2017 a PS kind of a year, a personal and spiritual growth year, one of the things that we've got to do is we've really got to embrace this second mile principle of possibilities. It is in the second mile. It is when you go beyond what is expected of you. It is when you go beyond what is anticipated you would do. It is when you do something that's so far out of the box, Jan, that you go the second mile and you do something more. It's like, for the instance, when I get to go and serve somebody, never do I just do what I'm asked to do. Never do I do that. I can honestly say, never do I do just what I'm asked to do. I always find some way to go in the extra mile, because it's in the extra mile. It's in that second mile. It's in that next mile. What I call the principle of possibilities is unleashed. It's when I go a little bit farther, when I go a little bit more than what's expected or anticipated, when I serve a little bit more. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's just a little bit. It's pretty amazing what happens in the second mile. I get to see PS all the time. I get to see personal and spiritual growth all the time, everywhere I go. I get to experience it, and I get to watch it happen in people's lives. And I believe part of that is because I'm committed to the second mile principle of possibilities. And I want to challenge you to live most of the time in the second mile. Do what you're required to do. Do what you're required to do, and do it with the greatest ability. Be the best one on the job. Be the best one in the family, in serve. Serve more. Improve your serve, and you'll improve your life. I'm just saying that. So, how do you become a gift? How do you become a present? How do we position ourselves to be a present to all those around us? It's a 7-part strategy. I don't think one exists without the other. And so let me just run through them one more time. And as I do, I want you to know, I love you. I really do. And I enjoy being able to hug you. I enjoy being able to get close to you and listen to you. Oh my goodness. It's just exciting for me. So here's the 7-part strategy. If you didn't catch it, give me about a week and I'll have this typed up and printed, and it'll be available at my website at mattupton.net underneath the free resources. And when I post it, I'll send it out to Facebook and LinkedIn and all those places so that you can have it. All right? So here goes, real fast, so you can check your notes if you're taking notes. Number one, pause before you respond. Pause before you respond. All right? Number 2, reword your statements based on their soul's language. Number 3, engage people to enhance their lives, not your ego and not your position. Number 4, satisfy their felt needs before you get to the bigger one. Number 5, enlarge their vision of themselves through the way you treat them, the way you talk about them, and the way your body language responds to them. Number 6, negotiate conflicts based on your heart of serve rather than your ego. And number 7, trust the second mile principle of possibilities. I'm Matt, and I'm your friend. You can reach me at 916-708-8103. You can call me or you can text me there. I would love to hear from you today. Or you can email me at success@mattupton.net. Listen, I adore you, and I think the world of you. When I see you, I am amazed at the person you've become. Thank you for being here today, and I'll get to see you soon. All right? See you later.